Well, it's all tied up with that idea of salvation. There's no way that, according to the ageless wisdom teachings, that all of the sins that we commit, ever how a person may define sin, that someone can take those sins away for us. We created our world that we each individually live in. We've created the sins that we've committed the sins that we have, and we have to pay for it ourselves. Jesus dying on the cross doesn't nullify the fact that we have to come back and make right all the wrongs that we've created.
Then what was it all about?
Jesus was a great teacher, a spiritual teacher, a son of God, but we're all sons and daughters of God. He died on the cross to show us the way back to God, in the sense that we all have to go through these different levels of awareness. We have to go through all these different steps of initiation to perfection, which he demonstrated on the physical plane. That dying on the cross was symbolic of the crucifixion initiation, where we totally renounce everything of this world for the good of the spirit to go on to God, basically. So salvation, we travel the path of salvation. As we step onto the spiritual path, that path of salvation opens before us, but we can make it long or short. We all have free will. But it makes it harder in a way, because we have to do the work now. We can't rest back on the fact that Jesus died 2,000 years ago. We have to do the work and make it better.
So He died to show us the way.
He died to show us the way.
To show us what we have to give up.
Yeah.
Which is our interest in
the world.
everything earthly, including our physical bodies.
I mean, we think that we're all the things of this world.
It seems to me He also died to demonstrate that we come back, because He did come back. That we live after death, because He did come back. And
He did come back.
Yes. Yeah. Which takes us back to rebirth. And I'm wondering, do you think that there will ever come a point where rebirth is proven, where we know that it's true?
I think it will. We're about to come into a time when some great spiritual teachers are going to be living out amongst humanity. According to the Ageless Wisdom teachings and British author Benjamin Crimm, there's a great teacher in the world, and has been for a number of years now. His name is McNair, and he's the world teacher. He's not a religious leader per se, but he's a great spiritual teacher who has come back to earth, to humanity, to teach us who we are as children of God, and to show us the way forward into the kingdom of God. But not only is he here, but a group of his disciples called the Masters of Wisdom. This group of spiritual teachers will be with us for a long time into the future. And very soon, within the next 100 years or maybe even less, humanity will be shown the fact of our divinity. It'll be demonstrated that we are on this long evolutionary journey back to God, and they will prove once and for all the fact of reincarnation. And once this happens, once people learn who they are, once Maitreya and these masters teach us about this, it's going to obliterate from our consciousness this fear of death that we all have.
If He's here now, why aren't we aware of it? And what is He here for?
We're not aware of it because He hasn't come out into the public arena yet. And but that doesn't mean that He hasn't been working. From behind the scenes, He's been stimulating the process of change in the world. We've seen dramatic political, economic changes in the world and social changes happening over the last 20 years or so. We're waiting for a time when He's invited to come out before humanity by the world's media. One of the precursors of that happening is He has said that there'll be certain changes in the world, economic changes, which will call forth His wisdom, that of the Masters, to show us how to correct the problems that our current economic and political systems have created in the world. And once that happens, once this economic change comes about, Benjamin Crimm has said a great economic collapse will happen, that this will send up a cry from humanity for help. And at that time, He will be invited to come on the world's television and radio and speak to humanity and basically advise us what we need to do to save ourselves.
Sounds like we're talking about the stock market.
In a way we are, because the stock market is really probably symbolic of the economic climate in which we live. But there's a lot of people that aren't involved in the stock market that will experience this economic crash in a way that people that are involved in the stock market will experience it as well.
Now, he is coming as the world teacher, you said, to help humanity. It won't be the end of the world then?
It's not the end of the world at all. It's the beginning of a real golden age for humanity.
Okay.
It's a wonderful time.
And when he comes on TV, how will we know that it's him?
We will be alerted to it before the time when he comes out into the open.
Okay.
And there'll be a press conference, and there will also be what will come to be known as the Day of Declaration, when he will appear on television. But he won't speak. But yet he will talk to humanity for 20 or 30 minutes. But even though he won't speak, we will hear his thoughts in our minds. You and I will hear him in English. People in France will hear him in French. Whatever language people might be speaking around the world, that's the language they'll hear him in. It'll be telepathy in a way, because he will be overshadowing the minds of all humanity. And he will be telling us who he is, who we are, and why he's here. It'll be a wonderful day for humanity. And his energy, his love will flow out through the hearts of all humanity. It will be as if he embraces all of humanity all at once. It'll be, in Christian history, there's the Day of Pentecost it talks about in the Bible. It'll be really a repeat, only this time on a worldwide scale, of the happenings of Pentecost. On that day, hundreds of thousands of miracles, healings will take place, physical healings, as if the first thing about telepathically overshadowing humanity wouldn't be enough. People will be healed of these ailments and diseases that they have had.
So if you're paying attention at all, it shouldn't be hard to miss.
It shouldn't be hard to miss if you're watching TV or the newspaper, and because we'll know that this person's in the world ahead of time, and we will know ahead of time when this event's going to take place.
And then his teaching will begin, is that?
His teaching will begin. He will be with us for the next 2,000 years. He will not leave. And as we come back into incarnation over and over again over the next 2,000 years, we will see him at the center of our planetary life, teaching, guiding, consoling, helping humanity. He and also his group, the Masters of Wisdom, will be here.
So Rebirth shows up once again. As we come back, we will see him and his teachers here. And we will see a change in humanity, I guess, and in the world, huh?
A positive change, which we need.
Very exciting.
We need. Yep.
You know, it's really fascinating to hear an ordained minister's point of view, you know, who is also familiar with the ageless wisdom. I mean, you're a very unusual, you know, man. Your background is very unusual and very varied, and it's really wonderful to be able to talk to you about this.
Well, thank you. It's the only thing. It makes sense of all the Christian teachings. It brings it all together for me. There's so much in the way I was brought up that didn't make sense, but when I found out about reincarnation and eye for an eye and a tooth for a tooth and rebirth, it brought the whole thing together for me.
Well, thank you very much, McNair.
All right, thank you.
Thank you for being here. I appreciate it.